If you're someone who is not satisfied in life and still trying to chase the financial goal of hitting 10K a month, trying to pay off your mortgage, trying to pay off your bills, trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to retire your parents, you're going through sales scripts, upskilling in whatever way possible. You feel like mindset is most likely the reason, but you can't pinpoint it. This video would potentially be for you. I went into a deep dive in terms of childhood programming and trying to really understand what is making me tick and ultimately separating fear of failure, people pleasing, failing others as it's my fault, or actually identifying if it's actually uncomfortable. This is what I want to define as being uncomfortable. Awkward situations, awkward conversations you want to have with a particular person, or awkward silences. Think about dates, first time dates, and you have to fill the silence with small talk. Awkward introductions when you're saying, how's the weather? How's your day? That is all BS that I do not, I'm starting to strip away because a lot of the time it's hiding something. I'm going to show you my screen. I use Claude and Notebook LLM to pick up on these things so that I can figure out what to do from here on in. I've identified it, but I feel like this is going to take, let's say, a week or two, hopefully a month to solve this. No more than a month, because after a month, again, I need to solve another problem, which is a focus problem. But right now, I really want to solve this people pleasing problem. So let me show you my screen. Okay, so this is not a motivational document. It's a diagnostic tool. It's a map that specific patterns that are running your decisions right now in sales, at home, and in life, so you can catch them in real time and choose a different response. Use it before calls, after hard conversations, and whether you notice them yourself, retreating from something you know matters. Okay. Why did I do this in the first place? Because I know I have approval seeking tendencies. Another word for that is people pleasing. An example that I do is I'm in a job that I don't like because I feel like I want to please other people. I don't want to go into conflict. I don't want to make the boss feel bad that I'm showing up to work and not feeling like, myself or I can be myself. I'm not talking to the people I feel comfortable with because I just can't be myself in this environment I don't want to be in. It's not that I don't like my job, it's the environment that I'd rather be in. So then, what is the environment you'd rather be in? I mean, is it on holiday? Maybe. What happens when you're on holiday? You're not working and you're in a different environment. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like it because at the end of the day, environment also dictates people and people dictate environments. Okay? So where does this come from for me? Your dad worked relentlessly to provide, and his tone, even now, sounds unsatisfied. Growing up, you absorb a message that was never spoken out loud. Work hard, provide, and approval will follow, but the approval never quite fully arrives. The result is a loop. Perform, produce, wait for the signal that it was enough. The signal never fully comes. Perform harder. So for me, I'm always working. I'm waiting for that signal. It never comes. There's that fear that I've developed for myself ever since the age of 7. It's still there now. I'm 34. I need to perform harder. I've got a mortgage. I need to pay off the bill quicker. I need to pay off the mortgage faster. I can't quit my job because it's a safety net. This signal never comes. I have to work harder. That is what I'm telling myself. So this is how it shows up. A close rate, I do sales, dismal, 10%. Cash collected so far, 25K. 24K USD. So I'm not worth it as a man because I can't close. I tell myself that because a sales call is a performance for me to execute. It's not a performance about me. I think it's about them, but deep down it's still about me because I want to perform. That's the provider mentality. It's a good frame to have because you're pushing for a goal. You're not thinking about yourself, but thinking about others. People want to be around that, but you need to also identify the weaknesses and flaws of that as well. Therefore, I rush past the uncomfortable parts of the discovery because the fear of failing the prospect is actually the fear of failing the internal standard. You rush past the uncomfortable parts of the discovery because the fear of failing the prospect is actually the fear of failing the internal standard. So I don't know why they wrote that, but in Claude, I need to understand when I ask a question and they talk about something emotional, I need to sit with that. I typically pass through it, and this is a big no-no. Obviously, when you're pain digging, that makes total sense. But for me, this is not a script issue. This is not a skill issue. It's my own internal dialogue issue. So I need to be able to be identified. Look, it's not my fault that you're telling me this. Is actually uncomfortable. So why should it be my fault? But the thing is, I like salespeople come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and that becomes more of a mental thing as well. I'm coming into this completely different to someone else. So I need to address this right here, right now. Hitting a goal feels good for a second, then the emptiness returns because the approval you were chasing was was never coming from outside. Wow. Hitting a goal feels good for seconds. Then the emptiness returns because the approval you were chasing was never coming from outside. You feel the need to over explain or justify your decision to others, housemates, employers, girlfriend, instead of simply stating what you want. The pattern alert. The approval you have been chasing from your dad's tone is not something that he can give you and may never known he was withholding. Thing is, he doesn't even know this. He just says it. I mean, we all know he's a loud talker, but he doesn't know it's affecting me because I've never told him that. You cannot close that loop from the outside. You can only stop making every outcome a test of whether you are enough. Huge. You can only stop this loop. You can only stop making every outcome a test of whether or not you're good enough. Say that third time. You can only stop making every outcome a test of whether or not you're good enough. Boom. The overcorrector. You watch your mom be overbearing out of love and decide you would never do that. You watch your dad's short temper and decide you would keep yours under control. The intention was good. The result is that you swung the opposite extreme of both. You didn't choose a middle path, you went to the other end of the dial, and both extremes cause problems. How it shows up. Mum was overbearing with love. You become someone who allows people to walk over him, has no backbone in conflict situations. And that's hard to say out loud. Even post. Dad had a short temper, you hold anger down completely. I used to be angry, but I knew it wasn't the right thing. So I overcorrected and stayed passive when you were actually frustrated. Oh, that one. That one's a fucking shit one. This means you are suppressing both love and anger at the fucking same time. This is an enormous amount of internal pressure held constantly. Damn. The housemate situation is a clear example. You own the house, but the third would turn to avoid the conflict. You are not running your parents' program. You are running the reaction to your parents' program. The programming is still in charge. Just move to the other end of the dial. Wow. Okay. The preemptive retreater. When someone expresses displeasure or discomfort directed at you, your nervous system learns early that this equals danger, that you have failed them, you learn to retreat before the discomfort could land. Remove yourself from the situation, soften the thing you said, feel the silence, say yes when you mean no, leave before the awkwardness can form. Oh, even just thinking about that. It's not that thinking about it, it's more like, yes, I've had these awkward situations. We've all had awkward situations where it's just like, what, that was awkward. The scary thing for me is that these awkward situations will continue to come and be way more awkward only because I'm thinking that they're way more awkward. You stay in the physio job past the point you want to leave to avoid a 2 to 4 week witness. True. You move past the emotional wound. But the thing is, I don't know what I'm going to be doing after physio. So I don't know if I'm digging myself a hole. So this is the logistical part of me coming out loud. And this is what salespeople can need to identify in terms of people who want to make change. People get logistical to sell themselves that logistically you can stay comfortable. That's what the logistical mind frame is. You're logistically proving and stating the fact that you want to stay in a comfort mentality because you know where you want to go to is uncomfortable. Because if you knew if it was comfortable and logistical, you would be there right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on this call. You move past the emotional wound on the sales call instead of sitting in it because there's discomfort felt in your failure. Hmm. You gave up drawing entirely when one commission client was unhappy. Not just the commission, the whole passion. You cannot confront your housemate despite owning the house because his discomfort would feel like proof you failed as a landlord. Yeah, that's people pleasing tendencies. The question you have been unconsciously asking before every hard moment is, can I avoid them being uncomfortable? The question you need to start asking is, did I do something dishonest, harmful, or cruel? If no, it is discomfort, not failure. Keep going. The question you have to unconsciously ask before every hard moment is, can I avoid them being uncomfortable? The question you need to start asking is, did I do something dishonest, harmful, or cruel? The question you have been unconsciously asking before every hard moment is, can I avoid being uncomfortable? The thing is, I thought I could because I go to the gym, I do jujitsu, I do uncomfortable things. But here's the thing, even if you're a person that does uncomfortable things and sees themselves as a higher status person, or even like an intellectual person, or someone that's just eloquently presented, can you actually ask yourself before every hard moment, the question you need to ask, the question you have been unconsciously asking before every hard moment is, can I avoid them being uncomfortable? People pleasing tendencies. Can I avoid this person? If I ask a question, can I avoid them? Can I avoid that question? Can I avoid that question? Can I really avoid that question? What the question should be to myself. These are questions that I should be asking myself. Did I do something dishonest, harmful, or cruel? When you ask a question, you can't be dishonest with the question. I guess you can be harmful psychologically, yeah, cruel psychologically, but physically, no. It's just uncomfortable, which is the psychological part. I wonder if that's why my girlfriend keeps asking, is that, am I being mean? She asks us that question. Wow. When she asks a question, she says, am I being too mean? So she allows herself to ask the question because she knows it's an uncomfortable question. Therefore, she verifies it. Am I being too mean? Because she knows that question is uncomfortable. Keep going. Fair enough. Fair enough. The guilt few runner. We'll see how much we can get through because I'm not too sure if we can get through the whole thing before my sales call. I've got one in 20 minutes, but I just want to see where we go with this. If you like this, please follow and I'll drop more and continue more. But I'm also trying to figure out like how I can make more videos and how do I fit this in because instead of I want to do it, I need to start thinking I get to do it because I want to go to the gym is saying that you're lacking it. You lack the thing that you don't want. I get to go to the gym means like it comes from empowerment, joy, and the fact that you're just doing it. Or I have to go to the gym. Let's replace gym to making YouTube videos. I have to go. I have to make YouTube videos to make them. I have to make them to get views. I have to make them to build a business. That in your head comes from a limiting the fact that you're limiting yourself. You're coming from a point of scarcity, not abundance, and you're forcing yourself to do it. I want to make these videos. So I want to, it gives yourself a way out because wanting to do something, you have good intentions because wanting shows that there is intent, there is a positive intent towards the goal. But wanting also states that you don't have it. I want that girl. I want that chocolate. I want to sleep with you. I want money. I want money because I don't have money. Even if I've got $1 million, I want another $1 million. I have $1 million, but I want another $1 million. It comes from scarcity mindset. Therefore, I want to make videos, scarcity mindset. I get to make videos. It comes from abundance, empowerment, and joy. I've never wanted to cook. I never needed to cook. I never had to cook. I get to cook. That's why I'm really good at cooking. I need to try to point that cooking mindset into the video making mindset into sales because you need to remove that vocab. This is something that I learned from one of my mentors. It's the subconscious dictates the decisions you make. You don't know that it's happening because it's happening automatically with the words that you're saying. I'll do this last one. If you like more, I want to do some more, but I want to break this down because you and I both know that our attention is messed up and you're not going to watch, 30 minutes of it. Even if you are going to watch 30 minutes of it, you're going to have on like 1.5 speed because the world around you is so goddamn busy that you need to be watching 10, 15 videos to feel even productive. Because whoever told you in your head that watching one video was enough to take action? The thing is, you should be taking action like yesterday. You don't need to be watching 10 to 15-minute videos. But for you, because you is me, I'm talking to people like me, you need like 10 to 15 videos to take action. So that's what I'm going to do. But if you're actually not like me and want to take action, you're taking action after this video. But here's the last thing I want to talk about. Pattern four, the guilt fuel runner. When your dad works hard every day, you watch that. You absorb the equation. Rest equals unproductive equals not enough. Even in Bali, even in Bali on holiday with your girlfriend, you work because doing nothing felt wrong. The guilt of stopping is stronger than the permission to enjoy what you built. I don't even know what I built, let's be honest. I guess I built a relationship, happy with that. Saved up enough money to build these moments, these experiences, take photos. I guess you could say that's what I built. But in my head, I feel building means like you're building like a business, you're building something that actually is an asset that can help with future stuff. Maybe that's what I'm thinking, but I'll probably have to look at this document again. If you guys like this document, please let me know. I'll drop it down in the comments. But we'll just keep doing this just for me. This is just for me. Selfishly, this is just for me. How it shows up today. The 4 years of decisions have been almost entirely organized around the mortgage, paying it down faster to escape the feeling of financial obligation. Yep. We operate from guilt and shame as the primary fuel rather than from empowerment, peace, and joy. That's what I was talking about with the words. I have to do it. I want to do it. I get to do it. When you achieve a goal, the relief is brief and the pressure resumes almost immediately. The internal vocabulary is I have to far more often than I get to. Boom. There you go. Key insights. Guilt and shame can get you to 100K. They can get you to a life that feels good because if you achieve the goals using guilt as a fuel, you land at the destination and discover that the feeling does not change. The fuel was the problem, not the distance. The fuel was the problem, not the distance. The distance to me means how far you get there. The fuel. So if I want to go from, let's say, Adelaide to Melbourne, and Melbourne is a hypothetical Disneyland, I'm putting petrol. But if I didn't put petrol, which is the fuel, and I put diesel, that's the problem, not the distance, because the distance is 7 hours. So the journey is important. Okay, we'll leave it at that. I will continue this on another video. And the reason why I'll be making the next video, because I've figured it out that I get to make videos, not that I have to or I want to. It's because I get to. See you guys in the next one.